Hi everyone, welcome to another episode with Montana Outdoor Science School. My name is Melanie and today we are working on our nature journals. If you haven't made yourself a nature journal yet, you can make one by folding a few pages in half and stapling them along the folded edge, or maybe using some string, punching some holes into that and tying it together. Today's activity is all about identifying an object amongst several similar objects. So what I'm looking for, I've decided I'm going to choose a pine cone, and I'm going to grab quite a few pine cones, and I'll show you guys what the activity looks like here in a while. When you choose an object, make sure it's not something that's alive. You don't want to be picking anything that you might be disturbing its life cycle. So be sure you choose a good object for this activity. What's fun about this activity is you can kind of make it into a game. You can do it with another person, you can do it with many people, you can do it by yourself, and you can also time it if you want. I'll show y'all what that looks like here in just a little while once I find my pine cones. Looks like I found my little pine tree, pine bush. Make sure when you are looking for objects, you're not going onto any private property. Make sure also, like I said, you're not choosing anything from the living thing itself. But it looks like we have a handful of pine cones. I'm going to see how many I can get all together. My suggestion for doing this activity, choose between 5 to 15 objects. Now that I've collected my objects, I'm going to choose just one object to make observations on. You can choose your object one of two ways. You can make it random, like I'm going to do, or you can choose one that specifically interests you. When you make your observations, try to be as specific as possible. You want to see all the details that make your object unique. To add an extra challenge and to make this more game-like, I'm going to time myself for how long I can make those observations. Afterward, I will add my object back to the pile and I will try to see if I can tell which pine cone is the one that I made observations on. Now that my timer has gone off, I returned my object to the collection of objects, and I'm going to see if I can determine which one of these pine cones was the one that I chose based on my notes and what I can remember from my observations. Let's see if I can get it right. So I found my object amongst the pile. It wasn't easy. It looked like a few other ones. It was very similar and very similarly sized, but a few unique things about my pine cone. I noticed that on this little end that attached to the stem, it was somewhat indented, and on the end of the pine cone here, I noticed that the very middle scale was split in two. So these were details that helped me recognize that this was my pine cone. If you wanted to make this more game-like, you could bring in someone else to play along. They could choose their own object out of the pile, and you could both try to guess which one is both of yours. You could trade notes afterward to try to identify the other person's pine cone, and that tests whether or not you've taken very good notes with your object. Another way that you could do this is to not time it necessarily, but record as much as you possibly can. We've been practicing good observations. You could do that as well with this. You can get a lot of people in on this activity as well. It's not limited. You can also play it by yourself. You don't have to necessarily include someone else in the game. But if you've liked this activity, please like us on Facebook. Also be sure to follow us there. Be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel with Montana Outdoor Science School. Thanks for watching, everybody. Hope you enjoyed. We'll see you next time. Make sure after you're done with this activity that you return your objects to the environment in which you found them. You want to always leave things just how you found them in nature. You never know what might be necessary for an animal, for its habitat, or what might be necessary for the life cycle of an organism. Thanks for joining us, everyone. Be free!